Oh, hey. Remember when I used to make Satisfactory videos and they used to look like this? What if you did that again? But like good this time. Welcome back to Satisfactory, the 3D factory building game where you replace knowledge on how to do your job with optimal production strategies to automate 420 whatever the F's per minute. It's been a while since I made a long form video of this game, and last time I did, I scored myself my first W. Now, this game has been out for a year, and despite overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam and over 200,000 consecutive players at its all-time peak, only 4.7 players have actually beaten the game by launching the Phase 5 space elevator parts. In fact, only 7.4 of Steam players even made it past Phase 4. So you know what? Screw it. Spoiler alert. But I'm going to show you what the endgame of Satisfactory looks like. This is what dozens, if not hundreds of hours of optimizing throughputs and coordinating logistics does to a man. This is the true madness of Satisfactory. To meet Satisfactory, you need to produce 4 extremely complicated parts: nuclear pasta, biochemical sculptors, AI expansion servers, and ballistic warp drives that, despite looking like bombs and having the word ballistic in the name, are definitely not bombs. I'm just going to focus on these last 2 parts though, because they are the most mind-busting. Each part needs 4 components, with one of them being shared. So I'm going to explain each of these 7 components and why they increase your chances of getting a dependence on Vivance and Monster Energy Ultra. So this won't really be a video about me going more and more insane as the game goes on, because the insanity has already set in a long time ago. We're starting off with a fat one right here. Neural quantum processors are the end of the computer production chain featuring supercomputers and produced in the quantum encoder. What's the quantum encoder? It's the most advanced and power-hungry production building in the game, almost always needing the input of hyper-advanced parts like fixed trigons and time crystals. And no, I'm not going to explain what half these endgame terms are here. I have been cursed with this useless knowledge, and now it's everyone's problem. Magnetic field generators are what I call a precursor part. These are space elevator parts required from prior phases that are always needed for the next step. This component requires electromagnetic control rods and versatile frameworks, the last precursor part. So if you're like me, in my last playthrough and just hand-fed those parts, well,
You're fucked.
knowing that, this is still one of the easier components to automate. You know what's nice about excited photonic matter? It's that it does not need any inputs. You just slap down a converter, set the production, and wipe the sweat off your face when you see your power requirements creep slowly towards your total power production. Do you know what's not refreshing? The byproduct from the quantum encoder. Anything automated in this monster produces dark matter residue, which is also the best description of what I left in the toilet on my last trip to the washroom. And much like my last bathroom break, if this is not flushed away, it will cause catastrophic consequences to the rest of your production line. And so you have to use the mathematically worst alt recipe, but best way to turn as much dark matter residue into dark matter crystals, which you can then just sink away, or use for something else, but we'll get to that later. You know what caused the most fuck-ups in this Satisfactory playthrough? Aluminum products. You know what's required for superposition oscillators? Aluminum products. This is also automated in the quantum encoder, which means more fat power requirements and more dark matter residue, which can be converted to dark matter crystals. But the superposition oscillator also requires dark matter crystals, and you can reroute that output back into the input, but what do you automate first? And oh look, this is required for both AI expansion servers and ballistic warp drives. So you're going to need a lot of them, which means you're going to need a lot of inputs, and just hold on a minute. That's it for AI expansion servers. Now let's move on to ballistic warp drives. And if you're not someone who plans ahead, the thermal propulsion rocket will be your downfall. In the meta lore of Satisfactory, this was the most complicated component prior to 1.0 when this game was still in early access. This part requires 4 absolute monsters to automate in Phase 4. Use modular frames, cooling systems, modular engines, which was the Phase 3 precursor component, and turbo motors. You can stuff these all into a manufacturer and you are golden. If any one of these individual production lines stalls up though, your entire production chain slows down, and Ada gives you even more passive-aggressive lectures on how you're not saving all the puppies and the kittens and the whatever. Phase 5 requires 1,000 nuclear pastas to beat the game. Why does this matter? Because Singularity cells also require nuclear pasta in their production line. Nuclear pasta bottlenecks production so bad that its throughput is literally less than 1. Singularity cells also require more dark matter crystals, which at this point you should be automating using one of the all-time goated alternative recipes, the dark matter trap. And so I had to build this absolute production center that maximizes diamond production based on the available resources in this area. And yes, diamonds are a thing in this game. They require stupid amounts of inputs, and then you convert them into time crystals, which combines that all with reanimated sand. All this can be done at different parts of the game world to utilize different available resource nodes. So hopefully you're utilizing planes, trains, and automobiles to automate an ever more complicated and power-hungry logistics network. I already talked about these quite a lot, but they are an ever-present element in Phase 5, threatening your production lines and throughput. They are like a Pokemon rival, harassing you at every turn. You need them to produce the main components, but you also need them to vent out dark matter residue, and you need them to fully automate ballistic warp drives. There are 3 ways to automate them: the shit way, the lazy way, and the right way. You're really going to want a hard drive hunt for both of these alt recipes, since they both have good uses. Dark matter trap maximizes yield and is all-around winner, getting you 60 dark matter crystals per minute. That's if you're like me, one of the throughput enjoyer. The dark matter crystallization recipe takes 200 dark matter residue and converts it to 20 crystals per minute, which on paper is a dog shit deal. But as a quick and easy way to vent out dark matter residue so you can sink it away, it comes in clutch. So to automate 2 ballistic warp drives per minute, I need 80 per minute. So I use a heinous hybrid strategy of both alt recipes to come up with enough throughput for both the singularity cells and the not bombs. I had to scrape together the output from my quantum encoder byproducts to meet the quota, like I was searching the couch for pocket change for my next Tim Hortons coffee. But instead of pocket change, it is the condensed result of extreme and exotic matter. And so there we go, 2 endgame Phase 5 components fully automated. And as tradition for this playthrough, I parade them down this conveyor wall, which I named Victory Road, and right into the space elevator. And you, meanwhile, get to see what absolute endgame bullshit looks like. As insane as this all looks, this is all very doable. So for those chugging away at Phases 2, 3, and 4, I salute you guys. You engineers, you beer-drinking doctors, you sports-betting mathematicians. As for me, I get to start a new playthrough and finally put this file to rest. A file that I maturely named Dr. Robotnik's Wet Dream.